I got started as an engineer, and I remember very clearly in Singapore, um, I could not understand what it meant to work as an engineer. But I had a bound obligation to fulfill, and it so happened that I worked for 3 years as an engineer. And it was fulfilling, it was nice, and it was rewarding. But then I just felt that I wanted more. And I wanted to serve people, and I wanted to be with people at the very finest moments of their life. And so this led me to medicine. I'm not a medical doctor now, and probably I won't ever be a medical doctor, but it just led me to the question of what it means to work. And I kind of had this kind of epiphany at the end of my clinical rotations in gynecology. And what I felt was that, and what I felt was that perhaps work can be determined and thought of as jobs that either are generating ideas, or jobs that are transmitting ideas, or jobs that are executing ideas. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're an accountant, whether you are in research, I would highly suggest, just as a thought experiment, every one of you sitting here or listening to this video, to just think of work along this way. And let us dive a bit deeper of what it actually means as generating, transmitting, and executing ideas. So, the main thing that I think about when it comes to jobs that generate ideas are whoever are founders, CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs. They are the ones that, they have the ideas and they want it, they generate it, and they pass it on to others. They pass it on to others who are those that transmit the ideas. Those are generally your managers, your project leaders, your coordinators. And the idea is that they are the one that actually will take this idea from being just in the thin air to something a bit more concrete. And the next kind of jobs that I think about are jobs that execute ideas. So jobs that execute ideas are usually the very mechanistic one that goes very deep down to the details, and they're actually the ones that execute it. So, for example, I would think of people that are usually in a hierarchy system. The ones in the bottom are the ones that take the orders and execute the idea. So, whilst in medicine, um, I kind of had a bit of thinking of why is it that, any job that you do, at least for me, I could kind of pigeonhole them into these three categories. And this boils down to this very interesting TED talk by one of my most favorite physician writers, surgeons, and also, TED talk speakers, Atul Gawande. And what he said was, the reason why you have this thing called specialization, or this idea of pigeonholing doctors, is because it's very important to acknowledge that knowledge has exploded and that a doctor can't do everything. And so you need kind of a hierarchy to determine who does who. Um, and as he said very rightly, and I saw it firsthand in my hospital rotations, is that as a patient comes to the operation theater, he has already met around 15 healthcare professionals, whether it's the nurse, whether it's the anesthetist, whether it's the HR person, whether it's your person doing the accounting at the desk, whether it's your nutritionist, at least 15. And this is rightly so because the medical knowledge has exploded. It's so complex, and it's very, very important that everyone does their job in the right way and in the most specific way as well. So, but I got to think, why is it necessary in today's age? And especially in today's age where artificial intelligence is really upskilling a lot of people. Do we really need this kind of um, super specialization of people? Is it very necessary? And also, as I've seen, the healthcare system in different societies and countries, where they all grapple with this question of cost. Um, and should a patient actually need that many healthcare professionals to get the best care? And so this is what led me to thinking about how Lewis Thomas, a very interesting physician of the 1930s, and he's also one of the greatest minds in the golden age of medicine. And he talked about what it was to be a physician in the year 1930s. And he said that the physician was a craftsman, he would do everything. He would set the fracture, he would spin the blood, he would talk to the professionals, he would talk to the patient. And yet, medicine was cheap and ineffective because the idea was you can't have a doctor who does everything because a jack of all trades is a master of none. And what we've witnessed actually is that healthcare has gotten much, much better. Um, but the idea that physicians are no longer independent in the Lewis Thomas times era. But my idea and my sort of um, hypothesis, if you may say, is that with the introduction of AI, of artificial intelligence, which a lot of us have already witnessed how great they are, my idea is to reclaim the time of Lewis Thomas of the 1930s and to take it further, this idea of generating, transmitting, and executing ideas, it should be done by each professional. So let us take the medical example. I would suggest that in the 2050s, when those artificial intelligence and those large language models have been well established, I would suppose that a single individual can generate his idea, can transmit his idea, and can execute his idea. In the healthcare system, for example, the doctor should be able to use the best tools to diagnose complex cases with the assistance of predictive analysis. He should be able to transmit those ideas to determine the best treatment plans and to streamline communication and logistics. And he should, with the help of robotics and AI, be able to perform different kinds of precision-driven endeavors to make the best decision outcomes for patients. So that's my idea. And this is where I coined the term neo-independence. So the doctor of Louis Thomas Day was a jack of all trades, and the doctor of today is someone who relies on other people, on systems and teams and specialists. But what about the doctor of tomorrow? So what I propose is the doctor of tomorrow, he has to reclaim his independence. He is not going to be limited or be disadvantaged by the limitations of the past, but he's going to be able to embrace the power of new technology and to embrace the essence of what I call neo-independence. So let's think about if Lewis Thomas was in the 2050s, and what would he have done? So, for example, patient comes to Lewis Thomas, he feels fatigue. That's your differential diagnosis. Is you have to come up with your differential diagnosis. The symptoms are he's feeling fatigue and he has a fractured arms. So in the 2050s, Thomas Thomas doesn't rely on other people. He begins with the fracture. He uses an AI-assisted scanner to identify the break. He is able to guide how to set the bone again with augmented reality overlays. It's fast, it's precise, and it's very effective. The next thing that he does is he draws the blood using a very AI powered device. He's able to locate the vein with perfect accuracy, and he's able to spin the blood in real time and identify that what's causing this fatigue is Streptococcus. within minutes. So he doesn't have to go to the pharmacy. He formulates a very tailored antiserum, prepares it robotically, and it ensures that it's very specific and precise to the patient's biology. So he's also concerned about the patient's fatigue. What he does is he runs tissue samples with AI pathology, and he's able to pinpoint that there is a slight malnutrient deficiency and administers a very nice concoction of vitamins for the patient. So my idea is that this doesn't have to be only in healthcare. I would like to end by showing you this very picture. Um, this goes back to, again, the time of 1930s. This is actually my very own grandfather. He started it as a very poor man, humble beginnings, had nothing, and walked through his own efforts and became a merchant and a commission agent. And as the years progressed, in those days, managed to become one of the most well-respected businessmen in my hometown and across the continent that I'm from. He was a real estate developer. He was a businessman. He had multiple shops. He had multiple estates. Um, and as I stand right now, I'm trying to take the footsteps of my grandfather to be an entrepreneur. So my idea is to probably follow in his footsteps. But what I have at my disposal is a platform that allows me to be independent, as he was, my grandfather was, but also that allows me to be effective, compassionate, and innovative. So what I'm saying, this is just not the future of medicine, it's the future of any industry you are, whether you're in climate change, in education, in the energy system, in research. What we have to do is to embrace the best of the past and also wait for the best of the future. Thank you for your attention.